Hello there. This slide and presentation is going to go through a detailed breakdown of the requirements for the ABFO examination application. The goal of this presentation is to kind of work through this very large amount of information and give you kind of insight to exactly how to get these requirements accomplished and the process for which you will need to submit them as part of your application. There is going to be two ways that I'm going to approach this. I'm going to do a full presentation going through everything all together, and then I will actually kind of separate out each individual category of requirements and create separate videos for those so that if you need to just focus on one certain aspect of these requirements, you can go through to that section specifically and not have to sit through the whole presentation. So let's jump into it. The first thing that I want to state about these requirements is that they are listed in the ABFO Diplomates Reference Manual, or the DRM as I will call it throughout the rest of this presentation. Those are located in the Section 3 Policies and Procedures portion of the DRM, which right now encompasses page 13 to 18 of that section. Note that in the future, these pages may shift a little bit as changes are made to the DRM. This should be your first reference for the requirements, as that is the official breakdown of what the ABFO Certification and Examination, or the C&E Committee, is going to use when evaluating the application, your casework, the documentation you're submitting as proof of those requirements, etc. So anytime you start looking at requirements, that really should be the first place that you go. Even though I'm providing this kind of detailed breakdown, and that breakdown is based off of the DRM, still changes may have happened, and I may not have updated this presentation in a timely enough manner for you to be aware of those changes. So again, the DRM is the kind of Bible for what the requirements are and how to complete them. If you don't know where that DRM is located, it's on the ABFO website. Go to the Resources tab and then scroll down to that second item that says Reference Manual. It'll take you to this page. Section 3 is the Policies and Procedures. You'll click on that, open it up, and you can scroll down to the second page where there is the table of contents, and you're looking for those qualifications and requirements for certification. You can either click that link or again just scroll down until you find it, but here's the pages where all of that is listed out. Again, it's a lot of information. It can be a little bit cumbersome to get through, so that's why I'm going to go through everything for you here. The first tip that I'm going to give to you is that deadline is June 1st for your application submission. That is a hard deadline. Do not submit anything late. Please make sure that they get all aspects of your application by that June 1st deadline. If you get things to them after that, they may decline your application, and then you've got to wait a whole nother year, or they may take it, but again, it will look bad for you. It'll look like you're not quite as committed as maybe you'd like them to think, not as organized as you'd like them to think, that sort of thing. So just don't submit this late. Get your stuff to them by June 1st. Now, that being said, one thing I would recommend that you do is before you actually start submitting stuff, reach out to the chair of the C&E committee to figure out where they want you to send it and how they want you to send it. You're going to have to include a lot of supplemental material. They may want that in a PDF. They may want it in a Dropbox. They may want it in Google Drive. There's different ways that you can submit those materials. And I have found that just reaching out to the C&E chair to get clear, direct instructions on where and how they want it is the most efficient way to get that taken care of. You can find who the chair is by going to the ABFO website, finding the committee's listing, and then you'll see the chairperson listed under the Certification and Examination Committee, and then that person's email will be, you'll be able to find that in the diplomate listing, also on the ABFO website. So another aspect or another tip to this submission of your application is start putting your stuff together early. It is a lot of information to put together, and I think that most people don't realize how much information it is until they start trying to put it all together. This is not something that you're going to be able to do in a day. It's probably not even something you can really realistically do in a couple of days. So my recommendation is you need to be starting to compile everything by May 1st. Do not wait until May 30th. There are some things you have to request to be sent from other people. So, grant those people a courtesy, get started on it early. That way you can get everything taken care of before that June 1st deadline. Now, another tip is if you record things as you go and if you will kind of compile all that supplemental information and proof as you go through the requirements, it will make things so much easier when you actually do start putting your application together to submit it. I recommend just creating a folder on your computer, labeling it ABFO application, and then, dividing up all of your supplemental documentations into subfolders for whatever that documentation is proof of. Again, it's a lot of information to compile. If you will compile it as you go, it makes things so much easier. Most of these requirements are obtained over a series of years, so it's really tough when you're having to go back and find something you did 3 years ago if you don't have it very clearly stored somewhere on your computer. Again, create a folder for your application and just put things in there as you get them done. The ABFO has casework summary sheets that will be part of your application, and those sheets have dates and case numbers and agencies and other information on them, as well as a signature for approval by the appropriate agency. It is so much easier to fill those things out as you go, as you complete the casework. And again, don't wait until the month before application is due to get all these sheets filled out and get all the appropriate signatures, because it will take a lot of time and be potentially frustrating if you're trying to get a signature for something you did, again, 4 or 5+ years ago. Those sheets are found on the ABFO website in that Diplomate's Reference Manual, Policies and Procedures section, just right after the requirements breakdown. So that's where those are located. Print them off, go ahead and start using them as you are completing your casework. The last kind of overall tip that I have before we start getting into the requirements themselves is that the C&E committee has developed a requirement tracking spreadsheet. They may move to this being the way you submit your materials in the future. Right now, it's still kind of under development and beta testing, but it is very useful. It's designed to kind of break down things in a easy to follow manner for not only the C&E committee, but yourself. It's got little red indicators for things that you're still lacking, green indicators when you've got something completed. So again, it's a very helpful tool for tracking what you've done, tracking what you still need, and making sure that you've got all of the supplemental material you're going to have to submit as proof for all of these requirements. Dr. John Nace is the one who developed the spreadsheet, and he's the one that is distributing it. His email is listed there on the bottom of the slide. So if you want that spreadsheet, reach out to him. Again, if you're a couple of years away from having your requirements finished, I would recommend going ahead and getting the spreadsheet and starting to use it, as it may be implemented by the time you apply as the main way they are collecting the requirement information from applicants. So those are the general tips and tricks for just the overall application process that I have for you today. Next up is the requirements categories. There's basically 6 kind of overall categories of requirements, and I'm going to go through each of them individually. Again, this is kind of how I'm going to break down things in those smaller videos, just so that you don't have to sit through this whole presentation if you really just want to know about, say, the identification casework requirements.